Hello, my name is Christina Luna. I'm here again with the month ahead energy report. Before I launch into the energy for the month of May, I wanted to show you guys this thing that I found at the Goodwill. It's a brass serpent, and I couldn't believe it when I found it because it's a strong symbol for something I've been working on a personal level. And I felt, how perfect is it that I'm getting tangible signs, tangible golden brass, actual proof that the things that I'm working on a personal level that are so deeply meaningful for me, but also very vulnerable to bring into the world, that I'm encouraged. And when I first started my path of like proving my intuition to myself, I would get proof in the form of brass animals at the thrift store. And it would just, I don't know, there was a series of these. So the fact that years have passed and I wasn't really getting a lot of that physical confirmation, and now suddenly I am, just speaks to the energy of this year, the energy of this month. We've got a sun in Taurus, the sun in Taurus, Mercury in Taurus. Mercury is retrograde, but it's a retrograde that is an earth sign that is bringing tangible evidence to the surface of things we need to look at, things we should touch, feel, get really real about. I know a lot of people, myself included, we are transitioning through the senses of the body and actually getting super grounded, feeling all of the somatic messages that the body is sending us. Venus is in Gemini right now. There's a lot of information coming in about the way that these somatic impulses, these tangible proofs, the way that they hook into our stories. So if you have a lot of personal history stories coming up, if your narrative feels really strong, but you're getting tangible proof that maybe it's time to shift the narrative slightly, it's time to be really receptive to that right now. Mars is in Cancer. Mars is the part of us that moves and acts and takes this kind of initiative in our lives. So a lot of that energy is coming from a place of deep emotional sensation, from letting things actually sink in. We could be feeling a little emotional. Literally right now, as I'm recording this, Mars is in a square to Chiron, and there could be some deep emotional awarenesses that we want to protect ourselves from understanding, or we're witnessing the patterns in our relationships that we've had to sort of protect ourselves in certain vulnerable stories that we've had about life. And Mars is moving through Cancer to help bring all of those emotional, protective, sensitive, vulnerable actions, conditions we've taken, actions we've taken as conditions to our vulnerability, to protect ourselves, to protect our most vulnerable parts. And so if you're finding yourself really witnessing vulnerable parts of you being triggered or expressed or revealed, this is a beautiful, beautiful time for that. And we also have Jupiter in Aries, but Jupiter will be moving into Taurus in the next month. So we're going to be closing out our Jupiter in Aries cycle. And there will be a significant energy change when Jupiter moves into Taurus. So I'll talk about that as well. Also, Black Moon Lilith is in Leo. And from January all the way till October, as Black Moon Lilith moves through Leo, we are uncovering any kind of repression, fear, or shame, things that we have decided are not us. These are bubbling to the surface so that we could be even more embodied, even more present. What are the things that are showing up in our lives right now that would make us want to come out of our presence, make us want to drop out of our bodies, make us want to move away or become avoidant? What if this year was the year where you witnessed those you blessed them, and you stayed. And by staying, you felt more presence, you felt more courage, you felt more of yourself coming to the surface. This is a year of coming into the self for so many reasons, but the month of May, I have coined the month of implementing our new character, story, or trajectory. March and April brought some destabilization to our lives because of some outer planets moving into new signs. We had Pluto moving into Aquarius. This would have sort of destabilized our conception of how we're connected to things, our conception of how, like the narrative just seems to keep breaking open. And as that narrative keeps breaking open, new, deeper truths are emerging that could destabilize some of the structures that we've had in place in our lives. Saturn moved from Aquarius into Pisces in March. So Saturn now in Pisces is calling forth the structure of our faith. It's asking us, what do we invest in? I believe in my life, Saturn is asking me to really investigate the beliefs I'm invested in, the ways of seeing the world that I'm invested in, even the structure of astrology. Am I invested in the structure of astrology? How do I know that I should be invested in this structure of astrology? What is the deep container that holds the structure of my faith? And so if you're finding yourself, having a bit of a crisis of faith, or a strengthening of your faith, or a tangible evidence of your faith, that is all Saturn bringing some structure to something that's really difficult to put into a container. And so, yeah, because the sun is in Taurus, this is kind of a fixed, slow, embodied, grounded time. And if you have a lot of airy tendencies or fiery tendencies or watery tendencies, earth tendencies may feel limiting in some ways. They may feel a little slow. They may feel ultra comforting, actually. They may feel like you're held. They may feel like you're held back. They may feel like obstacles. They may feel like matter. And so during this time, it's very important to remember that even though there are some elemental periods of time that could feel more energizing for us, they could feel more innate or natural for us, all of the elements are very valuable. And the earth element is the element that Mercury will be retrograding through all year. And it is very, very useful to begin to very deeply honor the earth element in your life, the tangible, practical, real, actual things that support and sustain your life. We've had a North Node moving through Taurus for the last almost year and a half, and it's moving into those very early degrees now, nearing its turn into Aries in July. But until it does that, it is squishing and squeezing and calling all of our focus and attention into our conscious awareness of what is actually sustainable for us. It started out what's sustainable for us in the world at large, then it was what's sustainable for us in our relationships, and now it's what is actually sustainable for me on a personal, deep, physical, somatic level. So a lot of patterns in our behavior could be changing right now. We could discover that there are strategies that we've used our whole lives that don't work anymore. We've got to prioritize certain things that maybe we used to get away with when in earlier times. Like maybe now sleep is more important than ever, or water is more important than ever, or the types of foods we're eating, or the way we move our body. or just the way we feel when we're around certain people or doing certain types of work. All of these things are coming into question right now, and things are breaking, especially with this Mercury retrograde. Things are breaking that are not physically sustainable. So a lot of health issues could be coming up right now. People are sick. People are discovering that they have diseases. People are, I just had a very in-depth conversation with a dental office that's all the way in Idaho. I'm going to literally have to drive almost a day to visit this dental office, but I was so deeply called to completely overhaul all of my dentistry. Like I want a deep examination, and this office does like saliva checks for all of your, microbiome bacteria, and I don't know. So this is just on a personal level. I'm not having pain, but I so deeply want to create sustainability in my dentistry so that I can keep my pearly whites for the rest of my life, because I'm thinking of the long game right now. And so if you're called to do some sort of overhaul in your life, open up your network, open up the energetic magnet that you are, and call into your world the exact thing, the exact person, the exact company, the exact product that you know deeply will create greater sustainability for your life. I have several things in my life that I've called in to help me with my awareness around my physical self, acceptance of that awareness, and deeper congruence and cohesiveness with myself. And this is the time to be doing that. Because when the North Node moves into Aries in July, we're going to be activated in such a strong way to fully come online as our unique self, first in the larger, greater world, then in our relationships, and then finally, deeply, deeply, deeply into ourself as our most authentic expression of why we've incarnated. That's where we're moving toward. What is my most authentic expression of this incarnation? And I'll say also, themes that are coming up for me on a personal level are, I'm thinking of like, all right, girl, you're 43 years old. Is your older self going to be so proud of the way you lived your life? Are you leaving anything on the table? Are you playing safe? Are you being conservative when there's a plethora of life experiences that are available at your fingertips? Am I going to be proud of the way I live my life when I am older? That is a question that I can't shake. And I feel like a lot of the decisions I'm making right now are based on that kind of thinking. So if it's helpful to ask yourself, on a long enough timeline, is this how I want to be living my life? That could open up dreams that feel too vulnerable to become conscious of. It can open up desires that have been too wild to, let surface. So the suppression of these things are, they're coming out. Black Moon Lilith is calling them to the surface. I have a book that I've been writing for, 12 years now, that is just like, hey, when is now a good time? Like, are you going to actually do this? Why wait? What are you waiting for? And I have so many like intellectual reasons, but my body's telling me, the signs are telling me, girl, let's do this. It's okay. Life is safe. And with the sun in Taurus, with Mercury in Taurus, this is a time to take an inventory and say, actually, yes, my life can be pretty safe. Also at this point, I just want to share, every single week I meet live with a group, and there's a weekly initiation for every week of the year. I have been testing these initiations this is the 5th year now, and we're currently in the week of the 5 of Earth. And next week we're moving into the 6 of Earth. We're going to meet on Monday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time. And if you would like to join me for these small, intimate meetups, I'll leave a link in the description box below, but we talk about these initiations and we talk about how they're tangibly showing up in our lives. And then we go through the week by week and we hear how all of this is happening for each of us. And it's really perspective opening. And so I just want to personally invite you, if you're watching this and you feel called to do it, click the link down below in the description and join us on Monday. I guarantee it'll be an experience that you will not regret. And I hope to see you there. Now I'm going to go through the month ahead and some specific key dates that you might want to pay attention to. In my weekly meetups, we go into depth on every single day of the week. And if that's interesting to you, join that. But this is just an overview for the bigger transits that I think we should all be aware of and leverage properly with our consciousness. So on the 1st of May, Pluto will begin retrograding and it will stay at 0 degrees till about the middle of June. So it's going to be at the same degree it's been at since March 27th, I believe. But we're going to feel a sensation of its pressure into the new. We're going to feel that sensation sort of retreat slightly. It's almost like leaning into some kind of new change. We've been leaning into a change and it's kind of shaken us. It's kind of peeled off some layers of skin. It's kind of brought us this newer version of us that's been incubating in the chrysalis. And now the pressure is going to start easing off. And it will be on us to navigate that new change. We won't see a new ground broken by Pluto until next year. And even then, it just barely moves back to 0 and back over these degrees. So we're not going to be breaking a lot of new ground with Pluto and for a couple of years still. But I feel that's the grace of the universe initiating these changes in contractions that we can manage, that we can adjust to and adapt to. The key is, if you've been invited into life changes over the last 2 months and you've had a wake-up call, you may feel that you're feeling better or you're feeling like your old self again. And maybe you feel, oh, never mind. I don't need to do those things. I can go back to my old coping strategies and my old comfort zone. This is not what we're being asked to do. We're being asked to, now, if you're feeling better, will you still do these changes? Will you still move into this growth? Will you still lean in even when the discomfort is not turned up? And this is important because Pluto will move into Aquarius again in January of next year. So it's not like, oh, good, phew, everything's going to go back to normal. I can just relax. I can sit back. I can go back to my old ways. No. You can, and you're going to be faced with starting again next January if you decide to do that. Totally your call. I'm just here to say that, gosh, the most graceful evolution of these energies would be to continue doing it anyway, even if the pain's not present, even if the fear's not present, even if the push isn't present. Just do the things that feel deeply sustainable for you anyway. And celebrate that you can, because you're alive, because a lot of people are having that kind of wake-up call, like, oh my gosh, like this is my one precious life. So that's Pluto retrograde. We will feel that retreat, but my suggestion is just do it because it's good. Do it because it feels good. Do it because it's good for you, not because there's pain involved. I know pain is a strong motivator, or fear is a strong motivator, and it's not to just never relax, but this isn't about like pushing yourself. This is about integrating sustainability, and integrating sustainability is still on the table. All right. So also on 5/1, the sun and Mercury will be cazimi. They'll be conjunct. Mercury and the sun. Mercury will have retrograded and the sun is going to go boop, and Mercury is going to keep going back a little bit, but the sun is going to keep going forward. Anyways, This is a moment where this could be a really clear, practical, tangible, physical epiphany. There could be some kind of jackpot. There could be like a golden snake that shows up in your world. There could be some really specific, grounded, tangible message that you become very conscious of. And it could definitely come through the physical body. This could be a message that feels grounded, that feels connected, that feels congruent, that feels rewarding, something maybe measurable. Or you could get a very strong message that is like, hey, this is still very important. Do not stop doing this. You could get test results from something. You could get a grade or something that is showing you the tangible evidence of your evolution. So keep an eye on the 1st of May. On the 5th of May, we have a full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. This will be the last eclipse in Scorpio, full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio for a long time. We will have eclipses in Scorpio again in about 9 years, but it will be a north node eclipse, not a south node eclipse. The north node eclipse 9 years from now is going to be calling us into deeper intimacy and opening up boundaries. That is not what this eclipse is all about. This eclipse is continuing to letting go of that very last little bit of residual self-doubt, residual dependency, residual insecurity about the things that give you security in the outside world. This is our last kind of tug on the rug to release us from any kind of unhealthy codependency patterns that we've had and accumulated over the last 18 years or so. So yeah, think of it as a good clearing, a good cleaning up. And then on the 7th, Venus will enter Cancer. When Venus enters Cancer, she's going to slow down. She's going to feel everything. She's going to put us in touch with, again, those vulnerable parts that need to just be held and felt and seen. 4th house issues or Cancer issues. Pretty much, this is, what do you do when you feel a little scared? What do you do when you wish you could run to someone safe and have them tell you that everything's okay? What do you do when you're concerned that you're going to lose control? What do you do when, like this morning, I'm dropping my daughter off at school. She's got a big field trip. It's her first time on a school bus. Everything was great until she realized that she didn't know what exactly to do. And she started, and I was so proud of her. She didn't shut down. She didn't throw a fit. She didn't, like, she said, "Mom, I feel scared." Like, she just spoke right into the energy. "Mom, I feel scared. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to do." And I was like, that's a real feeling. I could totally understand. Okay, you know what? I basically, I'm not gonna go through it. I told her that this is her first time and she doesn't have to know, because there are other people who are taking care of the situation that are going to tell her exactly which bus to get on at exactly the right time. And they're going to grab her lunchbox and they're going to make sure she's got her water bottle, and everything will be taken care of, because there are people who have done this before and they're going to take care of her through the whole process. And just me telling her that she was not on the hook for knowing what to do, and that there's other people in her world that know, she was able to totally relax. And she's like, "Okay, I feel better." I was like, oh man, if only I could be like her. If only when I feel scared, when I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I feel scared. I don't know what's going to happen." If only I could just say that in the moment and not put the layers of coping strategies on top of that are like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna like step back. I'm gonna get really quiet. I'm gonna withdraw slightly. I'm gonna observe this from way over here. I'm gonna just wait this out. I'm going to stay very quiet. Like I have my certain coping strategies when I feel somatically vulnerable or somatically scared, or like I need some reassurance in the world. And when Venus moves into Cancer, we may have a little season of investigating that. So open up to it, identify those people, places, things now that do give you a sense of comfort, that do give you a sense of reassurance, and be ready to resource from that space. We have Mercury retrograde in Taurus. The place we resource from is Taurus. This is the perfect kind of Venus test to see if we've identified those beautiful foundational resources that help us to feel secure and safe in the world. And then on the 14th, Mercury will move direct. And so we have this kind of week. There will be other transits that week, but that's the next big movement. When Mercury moves direct in Taurus, this is while Venus will still be in Cancer, it'll be like, okay, now I'm implementing all the things my new, freshly skinned snake can, feel belly to belly with the earth and feel supported and secure with. These are the things I need. So that's part of that implementation process that I talked about in the beginning. Then we've got Jupiter squaring Pluto. Jupiter will square Pluto right before it moves into Taurus. And I believe this square will be a huge kind of graduation reminder. It'll feel like we have graduated from the school of this is who I am, from the school of this is who I've incarnated to be. Not that we will be, a graduation ceremony is just like, good, now go out in the world and be it. Like you've accomplished your initiation into this certain field of training, this certain field of growth. Now the work is to actually go in the world and be it. So we get this Jupiter square Pluto right as Jupiter enters Taurus. Like, hello, here we are, we graduated, now let's be it. Let's implement it. Let's walk that walk. Let's actually unapologetically accept everything that we are, with complete awareness that we're a liquid, moving, always responding person, entity that is still us no matter what we experience. And then on the 19th, we have a new moon in Taurus. So beautiful. Here I am, I'm in the world, I'm implementing this self into the world. Now I'm going to continue nourishing this seed. I'm going to continue nourishing this life. I'm going to continue implementing these practices because it feels good and because I know I'm worthy of doing this and I value doing this because of the long-term trajectory that I'm on. And then on the 20th, Mars will enter Leo. Mars will be in Leo for some time. Leo is also the place where we have Black Moon Lilith. So while Mars moves through Leo, we will have to take some action past our gates of fear, past our gates of repression, past our gates of shame. We're going to have to act out the things that we are. We're going to have to actually be seen as the things that we are and the qualities that we are and the character that we are. And Mars is going to begin facilitating that action. And then on the 21st, the sun will enter Gemini. And I perceive when the sun is in Gemini, there will be a lot of sharing of stories, exploring preferences. Okay, well, I am this person now. Do I enjoy this? Do I enjoy that? I used to do this. I used to have these habits. And now that I have these habits, I feel different about these things. And this is what I prefer now. So we're entering into the next month of June will definitely be a month where we kind of get ourselves on the same page. Like, my heart likes this and it's new to my brain. That's interesting. Let's get on the same page here. Let's let our brain serve our body. Let's let our body lead. Let's let our somatic presence lead. Let's let our feelings lead. So I think it's going to be a beautiful month. I've got an image of this girl licking a pomegranate. For some reason, when I was going through the months, this is just the image that felt the most aligned for this month. And whew, I mean, could we all be so lucky to lick some pomegranates this month? I mean, like, it is about experiencing the pleasure and the joy of being alive, of being in a body, remembering that we're creatures of pleasure and play, as well as sensuality and like the senses, the smells, the sounds, the fragrances, the textures, all of the nuance, the dramatic changes in the temperature of someone's skin. Like, this is what life is about, and these things will help to ground us even more fully into our bodies and to remind us why it's such a gift to be in a body. And I talk a lot about this because my journey has definitely been one from moving from a external place through through my mind, through my emotions, and finally into my body. And it's been quite a journey for me. And now that I'm here, I do see circumstances that would, like, oh, that's why I popped out of my body when I was little. That's why I would approach the world from a more mental perspective. That's why I was afraid of my emotions. That's why being present to all of this at once felt overstimulating for me as a child and an adult and a teenager and a freaking, everything. So the awareness of all of that has really helped to, like, hold my soul and hold myself through all types of different simulations that I've been experiencing. And even more so this month, I think that that's the kind of awareness we need to bring to all of our experiences. And the more that we allow these experiences, the more of ourself actually becomes planted and grounded and present and emerging and connecting. And this will be the richness that we take into the things that we think about and the things that we share with others and the things that we create and our relationships, etc. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about this month. I'm feeling pretty excited. I know there are a lot of global changes happening as internal value structures change, as people, release the veils of conditioned responses that they've had for so long, as they release the behaviors that have numbed them for so long, and they really see and get real with the tangibles of their life. Things change. We use our money differently when we're not numb. We use our time differently. We focus our attention differently. We decide different things about our lives. And all of these things change the outer landscape of the world. And so any kind of external destabilization or changes that we perceive on a social level, those are all results of hundreds of thousands of people changing on the inside. And I also feel that we're deeply connected to the earth. I feel like the ultimate embodiment and the ultimate results are reflected in our weather patterns and in the earth's surface. And that's a whole nother, that has a lot to do with our rooted energy. And it's all shifting, but I believe that the human experience is sort of a central point to all the man-made created phenomenon and somehow is influenced and impacts, is in relationship to the consciousness of the earth. And why, like, we're sort of this kind of toroidal field that creates this rainbow bridge between the two. And I know that sounds very like there's whole philosophies on the significance or insignificance of humanity. And, you know, sometimes thoughts about my insignificance are really relieving to me. And sometimes thoughts about my significance are really empowering for me. And I think in equal measure, we need both of these perspectives in order to not be completely obliterated by the magnitude and grandiosity of reality. And also to not fall into this space of, I guess, depression, disconnected from the magic and the mystery. So I'm just going to leave that there. If you would like to meet with me every single week, please click the link below, join my weekly group. I would love to see you there. And I will see you again in my next monthly update next month. Thank you for watching. Please share this video if you feel compelled to, and I'll see you next time.